Welcome to World Art Foundations. My name is Claire Hindle and I'm delighted to be joined here today by Peter Deckers and Helena Stork, our founders. Our mission is to connect art foundations around the world whilst we share the incredible work that they all do. We're honoured to be joined by Miss Adelina von Fürstenberg, who founded Art for the World, who will give us a lecture today on art as an instrument of awareness. This will form part of our Inside Stories series and will be available on our website. To start the talk, we will first play a short film by Pipolotti Rist. It's titled I Drink Your Bathwater, which is an anthropomorphic vision of nature and our planet. The film was produced by Art for the World in 2008.
Thank you for being here and listen to my experience. During my teenage years, while I was trying to understand about the complexity of my cultural roots, I found a great support in the arts. I am Armenian, born in Istanbul. As a child, I moved with my parents first to Italy and then to Switzerland, and I still live and work mainly between these two countries. As teenager, on Sunday, I used to lock myself in my room, trying to find out who I was in studying art on the lands of my ancestors, devouring books on art history, on Sumerians, Babylonian, Greeks, Byzantine. This reading and the beauty of this civilization have somehow helped me to forge gradually my mosaic of my identity. Later, I began to understand art in its broadest sense while learning more on European masterpieces, Giotto, Piero della Francesca, Michelangelo, Goya, and so on. So faithful to this identity born mainly through images, very young, I chose the field of art as landmark of my life. In 1996, I founded the NGO Art for the World, inspired by the Article 27 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which stipulates that everyone has the right to take part freely in the cultural life of community and to enjoy the arts. It looks simple, but it's not obvious. And this is, I found, a very, very important article. So Art for the World's activities and missions are not linked to permanent space or specific country, but to the sense of initiative that promotes a common thread that unites aesthetics to ethics. The American architect Philip Johnson, with whom I work in Venice, has defined our organization in this term. It is a museum without walls. First, you find the right place for what you want to exhibit. Then you can select and change the container each time. And he adds, from my point of view, is great. I believe I would like to do the same thing. So that was very encouraging. So in a moment, I will show you some of the art projects that have been a milestone of my curatorial evolution. During my studies at University of Geneva, I was influenced by the Swiss-born philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Reading his thoughts opened my eyes on the nature and, among other things, on freedom as an object of universal aspiration. Also later, I started to be interested in contemporary art after visiting the Documenta of Harald Zeman in Kassel in 1972 when I was at university. And then I followed by a period of internship at the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam, where I was lucky enough to participate to setting up for first show of Claes Oldenburg, Gilbert and George, Marcus Renz, and more. In those days, I founded in the campus of the university at the age of 24, the Center of Contemporary Art of Geneva, that I directed until it became fully part of local institution and well supported by the city authorities. So during the first years of my activity, one of my major artistic achievements was the exhibition Promenade, based on Jean-Jacques Rousseau's writing on nature and with the participation of major artists of arte povera and conceptual art. Here you see some site-specific artworks created for this park, which was about the idea of the mimesis between nature and culture. And art, of course. And later, in 1995, during my direction of the French National Center of Contemporary Art, the Magazine of Grenoble, the United Nations Secretary General Boutros Boutros-Ghali invited me to curate the contemporary art exhibition Untitled Dialogue of Peace to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. 60 artists from all over the world, including Robert Rauschenberg, Ilya Kabakov, Alfredo Jarre, Chen Zhen, Daniel Buren, among others, created large works of art inspired by the universal themes such as tolerance, solidarity, and peace. The works were presented in the majestic public spaces of the United Nations building, including its courtyard and its park, touching daily among the visitors as well thousands of official, dignitary, and diplomats. And this confrontation between all these artists working and creating artworks in the park, and then these dignitaries discussing inside the building, was really one of the amazing experiences. So during this organization of Dialogue of Peace, together with my closest collaborators, some artists and friends, we realized the potential for the arts to bring awareness to social, economical, and cultural developments at the dawn of a new century. This was the impetus for the creation of Art for the World in 1996, in this transition years between millennia, because if I don't know if you remember, or maybe the young ones, not that moment was a great hope. Everybody was thinking that something will change. So an institution like this was really without walls, working with this international organization freely and with all the artists was really a great hope. So please pass few seconds, this, some images of Dialogue of Peace. Also critical show, it was not complacent. So all around the buildings and it's Daniel Buren absorbing. And then this famous table of Shenzhen. So now, so one of the first project of this newborn institution was the celebration of the 50th anniversary of the World Health Organization, because once that you start to work with them, then they invite you for other projects. So it was a 2 years long project in 1998 and 99. It was our first international itinerary exhibition. It was called The Age of Awareness. With a large number of art installations, we presented in the garden and the building of WHO, but then later, then it traveled to PS1 in New York, to CES Pompeia in São Paulo, the Lalit Kala Academy in New Delhi, and the Triennale of Milan. So it was a great experience and it was very successful. So all that opened us the doors to a long-time collaboration with institutions such as the UN and its agency, but also with regional direction at the CES São Paulo in Brazil, biennales, various art centers around the world. So the extraordinary partnership has allowed us to curate and organize large thematic projects and produce films from our offices in Geneva and Milan with a small staff, but in the same time, according to the project, the staff can become larger and then again small. This is a little bit our characteristic. So it's like working with artists who sometimes you work together and then you don't work, come back. And so with the artists and filmmakers, we continue to start to think about these main issues of our time, such as human rights, gender, children, minorities, nature, environment. And so on. So it was a group show of men and women artists working on femininity more than on feminism. It was really the various aspects of a female approach to the life. Then this show, after this show, immediately after, we were invited by Hangar Bikoka to create an exhibition. So we invited Marina Abramovic, who was preparing her huge new installation called called Balkan Erotic Epics next to ex-Yugoslavia in Serbia, about the relation of the primary energy, Mother Earth, and the sexuality. Why I have shown you the exhibition Promenade, which was nothing to do with Art for the World, because I started to continue to work on nature and culture, and I curate twice an outdoor show on the island Isola Madre, on one of the 3 Borromeo islands on the Lake Maggiore in the North Italy. One of our characteristics is not to make exhibition only in art centers, but also in monasteries, on islands, on public buildings. So that was one of our example of how to bring art in a park without anything else than just in amazing nature. So the first one man show was by Yannis Kounellis, and the second was composed of large installation of Robert Wilson, the acclaimed theater director, William Kendrick, the South African artist and poet, and the young Italian artist Liliana Moro. Sculpture installation have been displayed on the island with its botanic park, particularly well known for the rare and exotic plants and birds. So this close relationship and the intimate dialogue with nature and also the history of the island was the thread guiding the artist. I have to add that in parallel, we had also the musician, the composer, Michael Galasso, who worked with Wilson. This is the work of Kendrick. So we had the music, all the island was also the music. The visitors can hear music, visit the birds, the beauty, and then also see sculptures, installations. So this is the work that Robert Wilson created for this area of the park. It was inspired by La Fontaine, Les Fables de La Fontaine. So we saw the wolf, then the deer. So they were all integrated in the various parts of the island. And of course, very theatrical. This is the rabbit that he created there. Four sculpture, another deer, and then many drawings of his Fable de La Fontaine. And now we are seeing how I can speak while we see this specific show that we create for the High Commission of Refugees called Playgrounds and Toys for Children Disadvantaged and living in the refugee camps. But then it became for every children of the world. So many artists and designers, architects, this is Vito Acconci, they create playgrounds that then we were able to fabricate some of them. Here I am in Armenia opening, here is in India, and here is again in India. Then we build also in China. And then in the same moment on the San Lazzaro island where there is this monastery, Mekitaris Armenian monastery, Joseph Kosuth created this site-specific neon installation all over the island with the words on water. Again, the water is really leitmotif in our project. In the same time, in Milan at the Hangar Bicocchi, in the same year, I started to work with Indian artists with whom already I was in contact, and I was able to invite 15 major interesting young or different generation of Indian artists working on the contradiction between city and the country. Or so after this Indian show, always in Milan, it was the time that they were preparing the Universal Exhibition Expo 2015, which the theme was the nutrition. So my Milan office team has prepared a show called Food, which was a large contemporary art show on Mother Earth, agriculture and nutrition. And the show was, again, traveling in different countries, including Switzerland, Brazil, and France in Museum. It was all the question of food, or artists working on the question of food, stimulously dealing with survival, health, economy, culture. This is a straw dog dressed in a businessman. This is the Ernesto Neto's seeds, Nari Ward's coffee, Daniel Spoerri, Marcel Brothers, Beuys. It was then Barthélemy Togo, and this is Barthélemy Togo's work. There were many artists, and then Monsieur Cantor. Following the Indian exhibition, and as we have this mission also to work with different culture and different identity, we start to work on African artists. And I have to tell you that I work for all this year with artists from different continents, but I never put saying this is an African artist, this is an Indian artist. But then we start to put together this various identity and create specific shows, let's say like India, Africa, and we called it here Africa. We had 26 artists from various countries, and then later it was again presented in Geneva, and then in Sao Paulo, because Brazil, as you notice, the SESC Sao Paulo is our constant partner, and we produce together exhibition and also films. It's a huge, amazing institution in Sao Paulo. Now, of course, this year of COVID, they are in a great difficulties, but anyway, you know the situation over there. These artworks have touched key questions regarding African people. For instance, the issue of immigration or the dark period of slavery. In particular, we were lucky to have Yinka Shoniber's model and photography on the famous French frigate Medusa, which was the slavery frigate going from Africa to America. So this is about the children soldier, the environment. It was in 2014. This is the famous tsunami. It's a huge painting about the tsunami, very big. And this is the famous artist from Côte d'Ivoire. Portraits. And this is Ineb Sideras, that this next year will be the artist of the French Pavilion at the Biennale. So as I was telling before, in all this year, we were not only engaged in art, but also in fostering dialogues among different people and culture. So in 2015, I was invited to curate the Armenian National Pavilion at the 56th Biennale of Venice on the San Lazzaro Island.
Golden Lion for the best national participation to the international exhibition, and it goes to the Republic of Armenia.
So now that was a quite incredible chapter to have this Golden Lion, unexpected, but also very emotional, because it was unexpected, and all the 18 artists that they were there, they were all very happy, and the public was really very much touched, and we had a lot of visitors. So now, going back to our main awareness, which is environment and the Sustainable Development Goals questions. After the food show, naturally, it came out a project on water called Aqua. It was again a traveling show focusing on water and its importance to the human being, fauna and flora. So 32 participant artists from different origins work on the preservation of the water. The exhibition was conceived to raise public awareness on the notion of interdependence, essential to the conservation of our environment and preserving biodiversity and ecosystem. So now we will see the video on Aqua, followed by the trailer of the film Interdependence that came out from the water show. So our work are always related. They are a little bit scientific in the sense that we are connected. We don't have interruptions. We connect one to each other. Usually in art, it's not like that. Art is, there is a project, there is a tendency, then is interrupted, there is something else. Scientifically has to be, in order to evaluate something, you have to connect one work to another. So this is why we will see now quickly the Aqua show and then the trailer of Interdependence. This is in Brazil. There were video, installation, models. This is a project on, this is a Brazilian artist, the Andrade, Indian, the Ganj. This is again an Indian artist. Now I would like to say a few more words. In parallel to the art exhibition, since 2008, we started to produce short movies, and by now we already produce 45. They are all between 3-4 minutes to 10. The most recent is this Interdependence, which is a long feature of 1 hour 26 composed by 11 short movies from 8 to 10 each. They are narrative movies. They are not, let's say, video art. It's really cinema. And we produced in 2019, it came out in October. It was presented in the Festival of Rome. And we explored with this 11 filmmakers the position of humankind and nature. So since then, until today, more than 300 million of people have seen these films, because we had the partnership as a media partner, the Eurovision, the European Broadcasting Union, who was really not financially supporting, but in a sense of media. And we work also with their partners, for instance, the television Latino America that covers from Mexico to Argentina, or the Asian Broadcasting Union. So they are all partners of Eurovision. Then we also received the partnership of Vox Africa, which is a cable channel who distribute all over African channels. That organization, that channel, we met when we did the exhibition here, Africa, because they came to film. and then we keep the relation, because this is also another characteristic of Art for the World. We always keep the relation that we have. We do our best, but in a natural way, not in an opportunistic way. We keep relations and we work and we enter in the way of seeing and thinking of our partners, and that gives us idea to create projects. So when we did these films, immediately I told to contact Vox Africa, and they immediately took it. So, and also during the year of pandemic, we were invited in many festivals online, because of course the last year was impossible, but we went everywhere with the films in India, in the East, in the West. Right now, for instance, last week it went to the Festival of Film, Environmental Film in Chile. Then in July, they will present on a square in Venice with discussion, because these films also are occasion for discussion and bringing people interested in the questions. And in the end, I'm very happy to say that we even won the best narrative feature at the London Eco Film Festival, which was something really amazing. So now all these human activities, we know that they have a direct impact on planet, but as well on animals, which we shed earth. So our actual work, I mean, next film, but actual work is on the issues of animal, with the objective to bring up the relationship between human society and the wildlife in their own environment, natural or urban, and the various ages. So this is our next project, parallel to exhibition, and then we hope to release it by the end of 2022. To conclude, I want just to say one word about our current project, which is called Nobody's Excluded, in Italian Nessuno Escluso, to raise awareness on the question of disability that touch 50% of the population of the planet. We were lucky enough to find an amazing photographer, young photographer, Christian Tasso, who went all around the world to photograph persons with disability, their story, and with them, with their ideas, he did this large, amazing show, photos that we presented in the month of May in Milan at the Fabbrica del Vapore with the city, and now at the August 26th will be presented at the Palazzo Trevisan in Venice, and then in November in Rome. So this is not something big like the other shows. They are only 1 meter 50 square photos, 15 photos, and then many small, but it touched a large public. So I thought during the COVID period that this sort of people, they were maybe the ones who suffer more. So it's important to give them space and to make it something natural to live with them. And I realized when we were looking for sponsors that many people have this problem in their families, but they never mention. So with a show like that, which was a positive show because you didn't see difficult images, but images not let's say easy, but not the people felt that was part of the world. So this is how we work. This is our way of working, with compassion, friendship, and ideas. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Adelina. That was a wonderful lecture and so inspiring.
But thank you to inviting me. I'm very honored to be part of your organization. Thank you.